And we are live.
Echo, 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 echo. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, good night, or whenever you're reaching us. How's everybody doing? It's your boy Rich. We here again, Sunday night, live, Real Talk with Rich. I have the queen in the building with me tonight, the moderator Tameko, and Paul the Dandada, Black, the high priest of the cult of Bast, and all other things related to Black Panther. Paul is in the building with yours truly. Your boy Rich, aka Dollar Bin Bully, aka don't mind telling your creator that his stuff is whack to his face, aka just your boy, man. We are here tonight. We have a show. Gonna have a great conversation. So hopefully you guys will join us. Whatever you need, whatever you're doing, you might find yourself bagging and bored tonight. You might just be chilling, lounging, get you some libations, water, alcohol, whatever. I'm not here to judge. You won't put me in the judgment seat. I'll judge many things, not you. Having said that, we're going to just get right on into it with reads of the week. But before we do that, let me not be rude. I need to ask, how are you guys doing?
I'm cooling the fan right now.
All right.
Don't ask me about the rest of the week I had.
Oh, well, you know how that goes. Just stick around long enough for the change. How about you, Tameko?
All is well in my corner of the universe.
You know what? I'm going to tell you guys something before we get started. So, behind the scenes, behind the curtain, you know, when we make the magic happen, we had to deal with some stuff. And I don't have, I am an open book, you know, but I'm not talking about that. But after going through that, getting ready to come and do a show, you know what I'm saying? I had to woosah, I had to, you know what I'm saying, just kind of like bask in the comic book dumb. That is even a word. My wife, she says, honey, we need to do our taxes. And so I'm like, okay. But yeah, you need to fill out this paperwork so we can do an appointment. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a show, honey. Well, since you're sitting right here, because I went and sat in the living room with her for just a brief minute, because she knows I get ready to do a show. So I find myself doing tax stuff before it's time to do a show. Never mind, I have to get my mind together, whatever. Miss Wright has other things on her mind. She's looking for her check. I ain't mad at it. Maybe she'll buy me something. But you know, such is life though. So you know, hey, we can't all do things comic books. And it's like Tameko so eloquently put it. Budget yourself, because you can't come live with us. We have no place to put you. You know, you come to my house, you'll be turned away. Little 3-foot dog and some of that iron. So don't come knocking on my door. But anyway, we have books of the week, guys. And so, Tameko, I am a firm believer that ladies are always first and should be first. So, what did you read this week?
What I read this week, I snuck off to another comic shop in Philly. So I was just supposed to get bags and boards. But, you know, as soon as I saw what was on the wall, I was like, never mind. So my first book of the week is Aquaman 2.
All right.
Aquaman 2. They put
Now I gotta ask: is this a good read? Because I'm only asking because I've seen it at the shop. You know, I slept on the first Aquaman. I got to the party late. So how is this?
Oh, it's good. It's good because they put Jackson Hyde through the ringer in Aquaman: The Becoming. So this now, all the Aquaman, the whole Aquaman family is now together, and they're trying to get ahead of some really big nasty thing. Now, Jackson Hyde has been up under Aquaman, Arthur Curry, He's been learning and he's been doing it since he is going to be the successor to this whole Aquaman thing. But what Arthur did not tell Jackson is that he is working with Black Manta. And that's all I'm going to tell you. So Jackson is much, much unhappy about that. But this is very good. And we also get a couple of other members of the Aquaman family back in, Garth and Tula. They make an appearance. So pick it up. Aquaman is real good. Really, really good. All right. My second one, I love it. I love it so much when my fandoms collide. So the second book is Star Trek Discovery, Adventures in the 32nd Century. I'm a sucker for all good, comic books that are based on shows that I really love. And I Black Alert, that's me. I'm in there. So the particular thing, this is an anthology. So this particular issue focuses on Booker's queen, his cat Grudge. So this whole comic book is Grudge's perspective of what's happened since Booker met Burnham. It's really lovely. It's beautiful. And like I said, I love it when my fandoms collide because I am a huge Star Trek girl.
Yeah, I actually read this one myself. I liked the way this was written because they wrote it from Grudge's perspective. And from Grudge's perspective, all the people on the ship and even Booker are like these inferior beings, and she's literally the queen, an advanced race, and you've got these sub beings, these humans and various other races that she tolerates.
But that's just like any cat. I too have a feline overlord, and she loves me and I love her, but she will give me the eye and be like, "You're so beneath me, please feed me now." So I was all over that one. Okay, the third book. I was digging in the back issue bins at this store, and I came across Uncanny X-Men 186. Like that. Because I had these books like a long time ago. Got the story that I'll tell you all later. But this particular one, Storm, of course, loses her powers. And this is, okay, let me back up a little bit. This is the first cover appearance of Forge. So when he comes into the X-Men mythos, he created the gun that took Storm's powers from her. It was fired at her from Henry Gyrich, if I'm not mistaken. So she is now in his penthouse, kind of held hostage. And she's, of course, mourning the death of her powers and just figuring out, oh my God, my life is over now. And then he's falling in love with her, even though he was the one who wounded her mortally, pretty much, in her perspective. So this issue was really deep. I probably didn't comprehend it too well when I read it the first time many years ago, but it's pretty deep. So, and then I got this for a really nice price because those old Uncannies, they cost rent money. I'm not giving anybody my rent money. So I got this one for $10. So I was happy. So those are my picks for the week.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's a good book. I didn't even know that was the first cover appearance of Forge. That's new. I've enjoyed Forge in the I can't think what book is he in, or what book was he in? Hasn't he been in
I think he's currently in X-Force.
Has he been in Sword?
No, he's currently in X-Force.
X-Force, okay. I know I've seen him lately doing stuff. Yeah. Forge triggers black men in comics. Almost as bad as Wolverine.
I
You
have
know,
no
I'm
comment.
just saying, you know, you know, these
The
things
official
are,
position of the cult of Bast is we do not acknowledge any former consorts of our great goddess, the Hadariel, prior to her marriage to the acolyte of Bast. It is irrelevant, and we do not talk about it.
That was not where I thought you was going to go, but okay.
wow. So, Paul, why don't you tell us what you got, bro?
What's up to Derek? Let's see. So, I read a lot of stuff this week. A lot of it just back issues and stuff. But in terms of stuff that just came out recently, a couple of things. First off, I of course read my boy Miles Morales. This is Miles Morales number 36. Miles at this point, with his clone Glurp, that's the sound he makes. They're going through the multiverse. They found a nexus between the various dimensions, various doors, and they are going through the multiverse. And what's cool about this particular issue is where they go on one of their travels. They end up going and meeting a character called King. King is the cowboy version of T'Challa.
Oh, yay!
Who first huh?
I was gonna say his first appearance was in Exiles 6. I want to say.
Yeah, I don't remember the issue number, but yes, his first appearance was in Exiles. So he's helping them, with their jaunt in this Western world that they're in. They also run across a version of the Rhino. And then towards the end, there's a big reveal as to the next big bad. One of the questions is always, who's Miles' rogues gallery? Well, a member of Miles' very small rogues gallery is revealed at the end of this issue. I won't say who it is, but good issue. I like what they're building up to. The multiversal aspect of it is kind of cool because you get to explore, having him taken out of his element of Brooklyn and just sort of exploring what it means to be Spider-Man in different scenarios. I thought it was a clever way of doing things. So that was my one of the recommended reads of the week. Next I have is Dark Ages number 6. This is the final issue of Tom Taylor's Dark Ages run. It felt a little rushed. They tried to cram a lot into this issue. It was clearly rushed, but it was still very, very good because ultimately you have all the various forces. You hesitate to call them, heroes because some of them include villains like Dr. Doom, but in essence, the people that don't want the Earth to die and it be exploded versus Apocalypse, who does want the world to be exploded so he gets all the power. So they team up and they go up against Apocalypse, and it's pretty epic in scale. Because it's a Tom Taylor book, people die. But you can see that this is a series that can be ongoing because they have this new. It's basically like an Elseworlds book. So they have this Elseworld where post-apocalyptic, and they've have people that are. This story can continue if they so choose. So that was the next book. Final book recommended for the week was, oddly enough, Captain Marvel 37. Why? Because this issue had my girl, Monica Rambeau. This was basically a buddy book. You have like the cop buddy movies. This is a cop buddy movie in comic book form between Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau. It's kind of a third person because if you followed Captain Marvel, you know that Captain Marvel's binary persona has been made its own person, and she's also involved in this story as well. But every opportunity or every storyline I see Monica pop up in, I'm getting, because in the grand scheme of things, there's not that many books that Monica Rambeau are in. They're just not. So it's if you're, and I suspect that once Captain Marvel 2 comes out and Monica becomes more prevalent in the MCU, and Marvel starts to hopefully do the right thing and start promoting her by giving her her own book, or at least have her more active within the 616 universe again, her books are going to move and be a lot more expensive, and you don't want to get priced out. So those are my 3 books of the week.
All right. Well, your boy did not really do a lot of comic book reading. I did do some reading, but mostly regular books without pictures. They do make those guys.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
A lot of smart people read. They don't need pictures. It is what it is. But anyway, I will share with you guys some books that I did pick up in the last couple of weeks or so. I think they're dope, and I think you'll enjoy them. And you might want to add them to your collection. First book is this one here, Thor, number 326. And this features a character called the Red Scarab, who is not really a villain, but he is the antagonist in this story. And basically, somebody has stolen a precious jewel. And like in the spirit of Killmonger, telling that Karen in the museum, you think your ancestors paid a fair price? He doesn't say that. But he does tell them, if you guys are thieves, your people are thieves, they are thieves. Now, what I love about this book, that this is Thor. This is the whitest character in Marvel.
Yeah.
We're talking Aryan, white Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. Listen, and for them to put this out like that, yeah, I was here for all of it, all the action. Love the cover. It's a nice deep red. And yeah, so shout out to Thor. Now, this book here is something I got from my collection just because I wanted to have it in my collection. Because I have actually the omnibus of this particular series. Now, this is Just Imagine Batman, Stan Lee's Batman. Stan Lee, the godfather of comics, had a project that he did with DC. Stan Lee's a Marvel guy. But it's like, well, Stan, what if we gave you the keys to the DC kingdom? What would you do? And Stan Lee, with that mustache and that beautiful smile and that beautiful word Excelsior, said, you know what? I'm going to take Batman, the golden jewel of DC. I'm going to make him a black man. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, Jace Fox is not the first Batman. No, it's this character here. Dope story. Lots of black characters in it. And this is just his interpretation of Batman.
I have seen that book many times, but I never realized that his version of Batman was black.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And it has a bunch of other black people in it too?
Yes.
I'm going to add that to my list.
And that's
Next,
you're having an omnibus because I collected
yeah,
the Just Imagine
yeah,
Wonder Woman,
yeah.
but she wasn't black.
Let me
But
show you. Let me show you the omnibus. This is just imagine. This is the omnibus.
mm-hmm.
Stanley, and that's how thick it is. You can see.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, and it's got his interpretation of Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, the Justice League, Robin, Shazam, Aquaman, Catwoman, Sandman, Crisis, yeah, and a lot more. So yeah, that
Were
story.
there any more
This
that
is
he did that made characters black?
No, Batman stands out as the one character that he chose to make black. So yeah, yeah. Stan was looking to troll. Stan was probably the greatest troll there ever was in comic book history. So shout out to Stan. Rest in peace. Speaking of Marvel, these two books are also a part of. I wanted to get for my collection. This is double-sized annual Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man #5, which features Ace.
Ace, yes.
And we know this book because this is like Michael Jackson. If Michael
Or
Jackson
Prince.
was in the Marvel comic,
Or Prince.
or
Prince. The
well,
motorcycle makes me think more
that's
Prince.
more Mike. That's more Mike than Prince. He has a purple jacket on, but no, that's so. I got this book for $3. I picked this up today. That's the first.
There's a part 2 in the
Okay.
subsequent annual that he's in that as well.
Yes. Here it is.
Yeah, and
Here it is.
he
This
shows
is
up
Jason
again
This is,
recently
annual.
in the Marvels books that's going on right now. He's kind of a background character in the Marvels, the current Marvels run. And
I
what's
showed this
interesting
to
is
Tameko
nobody
earlier.
knows who he
This is
is
a
or what
classic
his
X-Men.
powers are.
Oh, you're talking about Ace?
Yeah, Ace.
Well, we do that for just the nerd on. He don't need to have no power. He got a motorcycle. That's enough power. But this book, Classic X-Men #25, features Moses Magma, black villain, who we adore and love. And I picked up this beauty here,
Hey, what's up,
Aquaman.
Comics?
Number. This here.
Oh, I have that one. That's a dope cover.
This is Return of Black Manta. Yeah.
That might very well be the best Black Manta cover ever.
Yeah, Jackson Hyde is in the book. Black Manta's son. He gets arrested, and so it's little shenanigans, not too much. But my real cool or comic that I got this week, I'm very proud to finally add this book to my collection. It's long overdue, and that is All-Star Squadron #23.
Amazing Man,
And
first
that is
appearance.
Amazing Man, first appearance of Amazing. So, which is dope because this is probably the first Black legacy character in DC. Why I say that? Because his grandsons also wore the mantle of Amazing. And those are my reads, or should I say my pulls of the week. But yes.
Well, we got
a lot to choose from. So what?
I said we have Moonlit Comics in the building. They do a Philadelphia show, so give them a shout out.
Okay.
I know that's your favorite comic.
Shout out to Moonlit Comics in the building, hanging out with us. We are Philadelphia fans out this way. Now I hear good things, so I'll let your boy. Philadelphia show, love Philadelphia. Really appreciate your Philadelphia trade paperback. Recap series. That's what's up. They doing big things. So shout out to them. Go check them out. Um, let's switch gears. Last week we did a show. We going to
Herschel
low-hanging
says
fruit.
that's the best Black Manta cover of all time.
This is okay. Well, that's what's up. I didn't put it on the wall. I do have a Black Manta. Do I have a Black Manta? No, I don't. No, I don't. I didn't put the Black Manta up. I do have an all DC wall. I kind of wanted to troll Marvel. I put an all DC wall, then I was going to wear a Marvel T-shirt. How do you think that would have went over?
Marvel would have been fine with it because Marvel would have pointed out that most of those people are legacy characters.
Hey, look, hey, whatever. I rocks with them all. I don't care about the legacy. I don't care how you feel. I don't care how you feel about this character being a legacy character. If it's a good story, it's a dope art, I'm going to read it. Doggone it. All you gatekeepers out there, all you Black, traditional, hardcore guys, I hate you. And I love you too. So ain't nothing you do. Anyway. That's what's up. Y'all make it happen. So we got to switch gears. Low-hanging fruit is the next segment. Low-hanging fruit is a segment where we talk about stuff that just comes across in our lives. And last week we did a show, right? And we did a show. We had a good show, had a good time. So we log off, or we sign off, I should say. We start looking at our phones. We do what Black people do. You know, we grab our phones and start scrolling, start swiping right or left. But anyway, lo and behold, there is some shenanigans going on at the Oscars. Will Smith, aka Hancock, slaps Chris Rock, aka Pookie, or MC Gusto. Shout out to my CB4 fans. So a lot of stuff has been said. A lot of things have happened in the week. And you know, I want to first congratulate Will on his Oscar for Best Actor for King Richard. That's an accolade. Regardless of what happened, he should be saluted for. After that, you know, it gets a little dicey. I've already I did a long Facebook post about it. And I'm not here to throw stones at Will Smith. He's had a lot of stones thrown at him. Matter of fact, I don't think you can find Will Smith right now. He is under a rubble of stuff. And it was just announced a day or two ago that he resigned from the Academy.
Did he give his Oscar back?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
So he resigned from the Academy after he won the Oscar, did not give the Oscar back, and his reason for being in the Academy is no longer necessary because he's already got his Oscar.
Well, I mean, you know, listen, I don't know. See, here's the thing. I do think that with time, Will Smith will be back selling out theaters. I don't feel like this is just I don't see this canceling Will Smith. That makes sense.
It won't. Besides, people have a short memory.
Exactly. But this is kind of, you know, brutal in the sense that, okay, this was done. Oscars are televised in several countries across the world. You know, some people said that he set back Black people a few years. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I think I think that's not, you know, that certainly isn't the issue. I see it as just a man who has been troubled his whole life. Shout out to Derek, who sent us an article talking about some of the things Will Smith shared in his biography, Will. And Will has had issues with his father and abuse, not to himself, but to his mother, that he's been struggling with. And one of the things that he said in interviews, I think, is that, you know, he felt like he couldn't protect his mother. And this was an opportune time for him to take time to protect the woman in his life, his wife. And you know what? I don't. If this was that, if he was in fact protecting her, I understand. What I don't understand is that when you do something, there are times when you're going to be challenged. As a man, one of the things that you can look forward to is someone challenging you. They're going to challenge your masculinity. They're going to check you. They're going to see if you got a few. It is what it is. He was triggered. And I mean, listen, I'm not. Here's the thing. I've never had someone cuss my wife out or insult my wife in public. I don't know what I would, but I know I have a short fuse. And so for that, I sympathize with him because I know my wife, there are certain places my wife will not take me. Because she knows that, you know what, no. Or she will cut things off at the pass. You know, if she sees that I'm starting to feel some type of way or look some type of way, she'll move me. That's her protecting me. And some have charged Jada, unfortunately, as not protecting Will. What I will say is this: they have not protected each other. They have put their dirty laundry for the public to see, and it is tired. And this was just like one more scoop on top of the pile that is the Smith life. And I'm not against people being an open book, but when your open book is sullied with things, it's kind of like, might want to keep that to yourself. Some stuff we don't need to know, you know. And again, that's the life that they have chosen. So it is what it is. Now that it's really gone, quote unquote, bad, some people think that Will Smith is being treated unfairly. I do think I am one. I do believe that he is at this point being treated. I won't stop short to say unfairly, but you know the old saying: you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. It is what it is. I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not one of these people that, you know, this is a black man and they tearing him down, and no, you can try to play the race card, but you know, I'm gonna send another card back to your way. And it is, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong. And you can't assault no one, period. It's just wrong. We can't do that. What do we tell our children? Because guess what? Some people are going to think this is licensed to, like, okay, I don't like what's coming out of your mouth, so I'm going to smack you. That's not sending a good message. And I don't think necessarily Will is in that position. I looked at Will as he sat there and told Chris Rock to keep his wife's name out his mouth and not in those words. But he had a look in his face like a deer in headlights. It looked like he was not himself. I don't know what that's about. He's in Hollywood. A lot of stuff goes on in Hollywood. So, having said all that, guys, could you please just give us your take on these shenanigans? You know, Tameko, I mean, how do you feel about this? Do you think Will was justified, or do you think he was as wrong as two left?
What I think was he lost control of himself, because I'll put it to you like this, okay? Pookie did kind of deserve to be slapped, because this is not the first time he's talked greasy about Jada in public. So I would not have walked up to hit him on the stage. I mean, that's kind of gauche myself, because I probably would have beckoned him It's like, come here, take the mic. And it's like, please stop talking about my wife. I'm sick of your ish. And then give it back to him and call it a day. Because there's wrong on both sides, but also Chris created wrong as well, because this Jada joke was not part of the script that he had been given to do at this award show. He saw her.
Hold on.
He saw her and decided to pop out with it.
Yeah. Here's the thing about that. Now, we may be getting some different messages about that, because what I heard was that this joke was not even, Chris didn't write this joke, but this joke was something that one of the other writers at the Oscars wrote for him.
But it was not
he could have told, he could have not told. You know, so I don't know. And again, I think it was a weak joke.
Oh, it was a horrible joke.
Yeah. So, you know, given that though, I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Let me just ask you, as a sister, what do you think is Jada's responsibility in this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because some people blame her as well.
Jada didn't say anything. She didn't do anything. She was sitting there with her husband to celebrate a nomination and a possible win. She did not call out to Chris to say, talk about me. So the thing is, I feel as though they should have apologized to Jada, because they sought out to embarrass a black woman on TV. Well, Chris sought out to embarrass a black woman on TV for no reason. He didn't have, that joke was not sanctioned. He didn't have to say anything about Jada. She wasn't the nominee. She was just right there in front.
Well, let me ask you this. With him being a comedian, kind of doing what comedians do, you know, I don't know if you've ever been to a comedy show. The one place you don't want to be is in the front row. And because, you know, if the comic is the type that will roast the public, you know, you're not right. So I guess what I'm asking is, I have to say, was he really wrong? And what I mean is,
yes.
To do, I'm just saying. And so I'm like, okay, you know, like what you said about the Oscars in 2016 when he hosted, you know, that whole thing or whatever, you know, I thought that was a shot.
And again, he spoke on Jada, and she had nothing to do with what was going on at the Oscars that year.
Yeah. But I think that was the point of the
Chris
joke.
was wrong in just having her in his mouth to begin with.
Gotcha.
So this can you take a joke thing is fine and well, but if you are not talking, if the person is not involved in anything, why are you talking about her? Why are you always talking about her? She wasn't doing nothing. She was sitting there minding her business, sitting next to her husband.
Right. Okay.
Derek says there are other better ways in violence to protect against a nonviolent threat.
Yeah. I would have said that, you know, he could have just taken Chris aside and told him to keep your wife's name out of his mouth, out of earshot and out of sight. That would have been a better way to handle things. Then we wouldn't have had this 2-week-long dissertation about how threatening he is and how he beat up on this poor guy, and can you just take a joke?
I mean, you know, see, I guess for me, it's one of those things where I see both sides, and Chris being who he is, because the funny thing is, when Will approached him, he did. Saturday Night Live did a skit where they said he could have just ducked or he could have just moved, you know, but he just kind of sat there and let him do it. And so, you know, Chris has got to kind of eat that as well. But Paul, you tell me, bro, this situation, we came out of our show, seeing this, couldn't, it's so in front of us. It's like, really, this happened? I'm thinking it was a joke or something at first.
So my take on it is this. For one, there's sort of a general rule or code amongst most dudes, right? You don't talk about another man's wife.
Right.
You just don't do that. Now, I get that this is Hollywood and Jada isn't like a normal wife because she's a movie star herself. So she's part of that same community, which, as Rich, as you pointed out, when you're at a comedy show and you're on the first row, it's all fair game. When you go to the Oscars and you are a celebrity and you're sitting on the first row and the Oscars is always going to have comedic hosts, and their typical jobs every year without any type of discrimination is going after people that are celebrities that are in that community. It's not like you have a celebrity who's there who's married to someone who's not in the community, who's not an actor or someone who's in the business, and they're going after that person's wife. That's not what he did. He went after another celebrity who just happens to be married to another celebrity. So is that something I would have done? Talk about another man's wife while his wife, I don't know. I don't think I would have done that. But that being said, Will Smith's reaction was one born out of ego and whatever else he's got going on in his head. There wasn't a lot of rational thought there. Do you defend your wife's honor? Sure. But I think of it more like, like Biggie Smalls says, real bad boys move in silence. You really want to go after Chris Rock because you're so upset? You want to defend your wife's honor? You want to shut him up so he never does that again? You hear him make the joke? Bet. I see you backstage. That's what you do. And you go meet him backstage and you slap the shit out of him out there. And you tell him, keep my wife's name out your mouth. But doing it out in public like he was doing, that had nothing to do with accomplishing the goal of getting this man to stay off of his wife. Because he could have done that more effectively behind the scenes than the way he did it. That embarrassed himself, embarrassed Chris Rock, embarrassed the Academy, embarrassed the black people that were in charge of putting on the Oscars, because that was a black show. The director, producers, the hosts, the comedians, all black. He made us look bad that night. Thanks, Will. You set us back. I do believe he set us back.
I don't think he said that. I think that
it could have been worse. It could have been worse because you know why? When Will Smith struck Chris Rock from Brooklyn, there's a second there where he actually goes back and you see him curl up his fists like he was going to strike back. Fortunately, Chris had the composure to not strike back. He took it on his chin. He goes, and you see him going, okay. And you see him biting his lip, shaking his head like that I ain't gonna lose my shit right now, right?
Well, here's the thing. I think that all those points are valid in the sense that if somebody does something that is just a violation, then you handle it.
There's no excuse
I don't.
for that, dude.
No, it
I don't care what he's going through.
But here's the thing, though. Let me say this. Here's the thing. Will you see a Black Oscars event next year? Probably not.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean by setting us back.
But here's the thing about that. The thing about that is this: is that, you know, the security at the Oscars, where was that? Where were they at? Question is, do you think
well,
Jen or Chris knew what Will was about to do when Will walked up?
no,
I
of
don't
course
think
not.
they did.
No,
I
no.
don't
They
think they
had
did.
no clue.
No one had a clue.
Yeah.
And with regard to the security question, it came out that the Oscars actually, well, first of all, they had no contingency plan for slap the crap out of the comedic host scenario. That wasn't part of their contingency plans.
They got one now.
Two, they actually did try to remove Will Smith. He declined.
Yeah,
They said, Mr. Smith,
That was a lie. That was
That was
what
a
they
lie?
told to save face. They did not ask him to leave. They tried to keep him from leaving.
I've never read that. I read the complete opposite all over the place.
Yeah,
but
the Academy did that to save face, but they didn't.
It's possible because ultimately the producer said I made the call to not remove him, and that was a bad call.
I mean, here's the thing, guys. What we do know is that law enforcement was in the building.
Yeah, and
law enforcement definitely could have arrested Will Smith.
Right. Let me touch on that because there's a big misconception where they said, well, Chris Rock declined to press charges. That's not how the criminal system works. Victims don't get to decide. Hold on. Victims don't get to decide whether or not charges are pressed. Charges are produced by the state. If the state of California or whatever state they were in decides to press charges, they can still charge Will Smith if they so decide.
So the proper wording would be Chris declined to have him arrested.
That's a misconception. People think that he gets to decide whether or not he's arrested or not. He's the victim of a crime. If a victim decides not to cooperate by testifying, law enforcement's not going to waste their time. But he put it on live television. So there's lots of evidence. So ultimately, the state of California decided decline to prosecute Will Smith.
Here's the thing about that. The thing about that is this is highly weird. These people make millions of dollars. These people golf with these people in key places or whatever. Will Smith is worth well over 9 figures. So, people are thinking about, at this point, people are thinking about their job. They're thinking about their future. Hey, the cops are thinking like, you know what? I got this nice cushy job just chilling with the stars, okay? I ain't finna rock the boat. So I get what you're saying in terms of the legal system, but they're in California, which is a very, very liberal as you can get. They get high. They smoke a lot of weed out there in California. They do some of everything. And I'm not mad at it. It's what that's their prerogative. That's what they do. And so I look at it as if the fact that they even went to Chris Rock and say, hey, do you want to press charges? They had to give the look that they were quote unquote law enforcement. Like they said, I mean, not they said, but to me, they said, look, we're going to do this as a common courtesy. Chris, do you want to press charges? Chris said no. So he was like, you know what? We're going to let cooler heads prevail. We're going to walk away from this and we'll sort this out later. Now, here we are a week later. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that they looked at the situation and determined that Will was not a threat to those white people there. That's probably the only reason why they didn't yank him off the stage by the back of his head.
That's the
threat. So why risk an international incident by manhandling the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
That's the other part of this thing that's unfortunate, that we saw 2 black men kind of play out something that, my first comment I put on Facebook was, when did the Oscars turn into the Source Awards? You don't see this type of violence. Though in the history of the Oscars, John Wayne went after a Native American. You know, in a threatening manner. So this is nothing new, but at the same time, this doesn't bode well for productions. Here's the sad part about it. Now, everybody's talking about the all black production cast, blah blah blah. Right? Here's the truth of the matter: the Oscars were already, as far as ratings, in the 20s. Last year, when our good friend Rodney Barnes was the executive producer of the Oscars, they had their worst year. That wasn't Rodney's fault. It was not. People just not weren't what people have stopped watching award shows. Award shows are not as popular as they used to be. The Grammys are on, I think, right now. Who cares about a Grammy? I'd rather talk comics and the slap. But anyway, listen, we got to switch gears and get to the main topic of tonight. Down the rabbit hole we go. Y'all can slap Will Smith and Chris Rock goodbye. We're not talking about that no more. Don't ask us. Boy, I wish I was a lawyer in California right now. I'd be trying to find a way to get some money. But our topic for Down the Rabbit Hole. I put up a post today in Facebook, and the post began with this phrase or this statement. You are not a black comic book collector if you do not have blank. We got several comments. I'm going to go to the page right now and just bring up a few. And while I do that, did you guys comment on that post?
I don't think I did.
I didn't because somebody already commented what I was going to say. So,
gotcha. Okay, so we had a lot of interesting comments. I had to delete one comment because some guy tried to peddle some doggone Transformer videos. I'm like, what is he doing? So, shout out to my man Mike Carson. He right off the bat said Black Mike number one. A few other people talked about, keys like Eben. One guy tried to really flex, talking about he got giant size X-Men number one. All of these different comments. Some people put up the milestone stuff. You have to have, first, all the milestone number ones. Some said Black Panther, blah blah blah. Right?
I like Amani's answer.
Amani commented a couple of times, I think, on here.
He posted up Tribe number one.
Yes, I'll get back to Tribe in a second. Talk about Tribe in a minute. But there was a lot of different comments. So let me ask you guys this question before we really dig into this, because I want your thoughts as to in your mind, in your thought, in your world. You are not a black comic book collector if you do not have what, Tameko?
Black comics.
Okay.
Comics with black characters in.
Tameko just stole my Tameko just stole my snarky remark.
Okay.
If you don't self-identify as black.
So now I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole. I'm not. This is not an Umar Johnson tonight. We're not doing Umar's tonight. I'm sorry, all you hotel wokish, Kente Cloth. I'm a Pan African, but we're not going there tonight.
It's the reason I say that is I'm being somewhat facetious. I've been on record as saying before in one of these lives. I don't think it's right for one person to judge what another person should or should not be reading. If you're Yeah. I guess it goes back to what are you defining as a black comic collector? Are you defining black comic collector as someone who's black who collects comics, or a black comic collector as someone who collects black characters in comics? That's the question, right? Because
Well,
what if you have a white person who says, you know what, I'm really down with the culture. I collect Luke Cage and Black Panther and Misty Knight. I collect those comics because I love those characters. They're a black comic
well,
collector in the sense that they collect black comics. Or you might have a black person who says, I don't collect any black comics. I collect Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Those are the comics I collect.
well, I'll say this, and I'm going to use your boy T'Challa to express my answer to this. T'Challa, help us out. You are all wrong, all of you. You're all wrong. You're all
I'm never wrong
wrong.
unless I'm not right.
And you're all wrong because, to your point, Paul, the question was, or the statement is, you are not a black comic book collector if you don't have. You can be white and have a black comic book collection,
How
right?
am I wrong? That's exactly what I said.
Hold on, let me finish. See, that's a definitive statement, but that doesn't encompass the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And what I'm getting at is, hold on. What I'm getting at is that it's very subjective, because there are some guys who say, if you don't have this book, if you don't have that book, then you can't call yourself a black comic book collector. I do believe that there are markers, though. There are markers of a person who has a black comic book collection. Tribe number 1 is one such book.
Yeah, I agree on
because,
that.
Because it's a book that is easily available. It is the first book, black independent title, to sell 1 million copies. So everybody that's black, that has been in a comic book shop, that knows anything about comics, regardless of the pedigree of your collection, should have this book in their collection. It's easy to find. There you go, Tameko. That's what's up. Everybody should have Tribe. Now, the sad part about Tribe is it's only like 3 issues of that. There are a lot of versions, past fans, and see my man Willie Corday. He has Cordy Jr., he has all of them. And a lot of black hats. Willie might say that you're not a black comic collector if you don't have any black hats. But either way, I think that it's a topic where, you ask yourself, well, I'm not a black comic collector unless blah, blah, blah. And somebody said, you don't collect comics. You could be a black guy who is into, to your point, Paul, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Superman, Thor, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Don't mess with no black characters at all. I wouldn't call you a black comic book collector. I would call you sleep.
You're just a comic book collector who happens to be black.
Sleep. I still call you sleep. You're the Walking Dead.
Well, I think I'll change my answer then. You're not a black comic collector if you don't have original Milestone comics.
It is. That's another one. I think real talk. I do think that's another marker, because again, how could you call yourself a black comic book collector and you not have the premier comic book franchise in your collection?
At least some of it.
Some of it. You don't have to have all of it, but at least some of it. Speaking of which,
because a lot of those are still in dollar bins in places.
Yeah. Well, no, I take it back. I ain't seen a whole lot of them. People got these.
I just pulled out stacks of Blood Syndicate and what was it? Was it Hardware? Yeah, I picked out stacks of Blood Syndicate and hardware out of a dollar bin last year.
That's
Yeah,
true.
but you're not gonna get the
Can't get
keys. You're not
static.
gonna get the keys. Can't find the keys.
Can't get statics.
Say
Those
it
were
again to
issue
me,
number
Joe.
ones.
Okay. But either way, I
feel
mean, Blood Syndicate is not exactly the high the high, you know, on the totem pole. I mean, people go after Icon, they go after Static. You know, Blood Syndicate is an acquired taste, I think. But I was going to say, shout out to Milestone Media because they're getting ready to do a compendium number 2. That just made the news. And that tells me that compendium number 1 sold well. And so they're getting ready to release a second Milestone book. So
I'll wait for the
Milestone books are
hardcover.
selling. Yeah, well, you're probably gonna be waiting, bro. I don't know if they're gonna do that. They're gonna make you pay $100 for it.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to get the compendium because I have all the issues that the compendium is made up of.
I have an entire
and-
long box full of them.
You know, buying a compendium that's paperback just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You need,
Well, you know,
something like that needs to be a hardcover omnibus. I'd
there was
spend money
a
on that just to support.
guy who put up. There was a guy who put up a hardware post. He had his books bound. That's what some people are doing right now as well.
I saw
you can
that.
get your books bound, and you know, and of course, he would have to do that, like, you know, get that custom made or whatever. But I think that's another idea as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But because the floppies, like, for example, a lot of hardware books are easy to come by, but then there are the keys that are hard to get. The Mobius hardware book is hard to come by. Some of the latter issues run about 30, 35 to like 50 are hard to find. You're going to pay some money for that. A lot of bread. And here's the truth. A lot of people are not even hunting hardware. A lot of guys are going after static books. And static books are going to cost you a rip. That Mobius book, that's a $300 book by itself. So, yeah, good luck finding that in the wild.
I found mine in 1995 for $2.
Yeah, well, you know, you were smart, Paul. You know, you were smart.
No, I was just a hardcore fan. With a subscription at my LCS.
Yeah, but we're talking about you're not a black collective. You don't have this. You don't have that. You know, somebody put up Giant Size X-Men, which I thought would also bear
that's just
bear
arrogant.
some talk. Well, here's the thing. I don't consider Giant Size X-Men. I know it's the first appearance of Storm, and I'm saying this in Tameka's presence, and you know, she might slap me. She might Will Smith me if I have to say it.
Fortunately,
but I don't
you're in
consider
Texas.
that.
No, I won't.
I just don't consider it. Listen, I just don't consider it a black book. And what I mean by that is, in that book itself, Storm is in the book, but she shares that book with all these other characters. And
Like
so
T'Challa does with Fantastic Four 52?
Hey, bro, that's a little different. You know, that's
no,
a team.
No, it's not, dude.
Okay, I'll let me ask you this, Paul. Let me ask you. That book is a $1,500 book.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a Giant Size X-Men? And I'm not talking about a reprint. I'm talking about did you go to the store and get the one that came out in 1982? Did you get that? Do you have that?
No. In 1975, no, I was like 3. I wasn't going to the bodega with cash in my hand to get a comic book.
Now, Tameko, you're a Storm fan. You're hardcore. You collect all the Storm books. Do you have a Giant Size X-Men? Not a reprint.
That's what I got is a reprint.
Okay. Now, I mean, here's the thing, though. I have a Giant Size X-Men reprint. But here's the thing, and what I'm getting at is that book is not as iconic from the standpoint, like, let's just say that there were no reprints. and you had to buy that book from it was originally put out. What, 75 you said?
Yeah.
Who's going to drop, a stack for that book?
People that
I
have it.
don't see it. I just don't think that it has it merits. I think it merits the cost that people are willing to pay for it. But as a collector, I can buy 1,500 other Storm covers.
Yeah, but
but
that's not her first appearance. I mean, understand, you got
I,
to recognize.
I don't care.
Well, that's because first of all, you're a DC guy, so just about everything that you say about a Marvel book, I'm going to take with a grain of salt. Second of all, you don't own a giant size X-Men #1. That's why you also have that opinion. Third of all, there's no bigger black character outside of T'Challa than Storm. What? There are some who would argue that Storm is actually more popular than T'Challa.
I know a character right now whose book you could buy 5 of those giants. I mean, you could buy about 4 or 5 of giant size for the first appearance of Tomb of Dracula 10, first appearance of Blade.
I said,
yes.
Name the most popular black superhero in comics.
Let me ask you a question.
I didn't say Marvel. I didn't say DC. Who's the world's most popular black superhero? I'll wait.
It's Storm. You ain't gotta wait. I'll say it's Storm. But again, Storm has other book covers that, in my opinion, are better and far superior than the first appearance.
Who cares about the book covers? It's about having the first appearance.
Tameko,
there's a book cover coming out next month that's going to be better than the one on Giant Size X-Men #1. I can get that for $279.
I need to ask the Queen. Paul, hush. Let me ask the Queen. Tameko, do you lose sleep at night over the fact that you don't have Giant Size X-Men collection?
No, because moderator Tameko has a budget. And again, I'm not giving you rent money for one comic. I'm just not going to do it.
That's not rent money. That's mortgage money.
That's all I'm saying. And that's all I'm saying. I mean, some things, because to me, Giant Size X-Men is a X-Men key, meaning that it stands alone in that regard. Now, I've heard guys. I think it was Philip. I think Philip said that in the line he was on with us, that he thought that if you weren't a black collector if you didn't have that book in your collection. And it's easy to say that. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's easy to say that when he has one. So, but here's the thing though. I don't think none of us need to be intimidated or need to feel like that our collections don't matter because we don't have that book or certain books. Like, for example, Black Man. I have a Black Man. Do you have a Black Man, Paul?
I have Black Man #1 and 2.
You have Black Man.
Oh, Black Man. Huh? No, sorry. I thought you said Brother Man. No, I don't have a Black Man #1.
Okay, but I have one, and I can say because I got it. You're not a black collector if you don't have Black Man #1. That doesn't matter.
In Texas, of course you have one. They probably have it on all stores.
No, they don't. No, they don't. But what I'm getting at is Brother Man is another character. I think Brother Man is a marker, especially back in the '90s when hip hop was really in its golden age. And this book came out. It was amazing. Guys, shout out to Guy Sims and all them guys. It's a book that right now, the first appearance, or should I say the first print of that book is pretty high. Now you can get the other subsequent comic books for a decent amount of money, but that book, Brother Man #1, it goes for a little bit of change. But at the same time, I think it's not required, but I do think it's a marker. Now you talked about Marvel. We know that's your favorite company, Paul. So let's keep talking about Marvel. I don't mind being on Marvel Next tonight. I got time. You tell me, as far as black collectors go, other than your favorite character, Fantastic Four '52, first appearance of Black Panther, and Giant Size X-Men. What's the third book?
What's the third book you have to have in your black collector if you consider yourself a black collector?
Yeah, so it's Marvel.
As far as Marvel, I mean,
Yes.
Tomb of Dracula 10.
Well, you know, and I know that I don't have that. You ain't got that. That's car note money. Matter of fact, that ain't car note money. That's probably that's a few months on the street. That's what that is.
Yeah, it is.
That's a lot of money. That book is going for like 5,000-10,000.
Yeah, that book is
I
gone.
have the reprint of
that
that.
book's gone.
Exactly. You get a low grade of that book, you're gonna pay $600. So yeah, that book is in the strategy there. So after Tomb of Dracula, what's the next book?
That you have to have from Marvel. That's a black book. Now, it doesn't always have to be a high-end book, right? I mean, there's lots of books. Luke Cage, #1 Hero for Hire, easy one to get.
Some people think
One of the easiest keys to get is what do you call it? Misty Knight's first appearance in Marvel Premiere or whatever it was.
Iron Fist, bro.
Iron Fist 21. Sorry, Iron Fist 21. That's the. I mean, I picked that up in the store for $7 or something like that last year.
Wow. I don't think they knew that.
It might have been 10. It might have been 10. But that's a book you can easily get for $10.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I ain't seen it.
It was last year. I literally picked it up my LCS last year for $10.
Yeah. It ain't out here in Texas. Maybe you guys got all the copies. I'm surprised you didn't say
which one?
Tales 169. Strange Tales 169.
There's a lot of books you can rattle off. Most of them on our site. Strange Tales 169. You can talk about the Avengers issues with Rage, the first one. You can talk about Thor 411, where the first New Warriors Night Thrasher. You could talk about there's a whole crap load of books.
Yeah, but does it? I mean, are those books? They're nice to have in your collection, but are those books markers? It's like, okay, is the first appearance of Rage? I mean, is it really like that? Because I don't think it is. I have like 4 or 5 copies of it. That's why I can say that.
Yeah.
They said some nuances
books that are hard to get.
No, not necessarily. Some nuances.
Because remember, a lot of black keys aren't that difficult to get because they're just not recognized as being all that important.
I mean, again, though, but why would I spend premium money on books that don't have the billing of say, like for example, I saw in the comic shop today, Black Panther 23, the one you were talking about with the Moon Knight crossover or Night Story.
22. Yeah, 22.
That book is $50.
Is it?
$50.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, probably not because the Moon Knight shows up.
A raw copy for $50.
That's
I don't know
because
about that. That book has always
up.
been kind of high. It took me a minute to get my copy. Yeah, it took me a minute to get my copy of but I've had my book for like a couple of years now because I'm a Moon Knight guy. So, I didn't pay $50 for it, but I just happened to go through some Black Panther binge because I'm trying to collect the whole Preacher run and the Hunting run. So I just happened to see it. And it was $50. Now he had several Black Panther books in that box, and that was the most expensive. And it is probably because of the Moon Knight thing. But
I think
again,
I think so.
But here's the thing: it was in a long box, Paul. It wasn't easily displayed on a wall. It's a book like that with a show like that. You trying to sell that book, so why would you put it in a long box for a scrub like me to go through and find it for $50? If you want to sell it,
I think a lot of general comic collectors have caught on to at least the bare minimum that the Priest and Hudlin runs are the seminal runs for Black Panther, and all future movies and endeavors involving Black Panther will probably have stuff out of those two properties.
I don't know, man. Don't sell your boy. Don't sell Ta-Nehisi Coates short. I mean, you know.
I don't.
I mean, Black Panther.
Ta-Nehisi will be vindicated in years of the future. I promise you. His Afrofuturism alone will vindicate him.
It's interesting you bring up Afrofuturism because I'm starting to collect more Afrofuturism stuff. But the problem with it is finding the time to read it. Because unlike a lot of Infinitum, I have that. It's on the stack. It's on the list to be read at some point. I did start reading it. It's pretty good, pretty good. But you know, like I said, I read so much stuff, so it's like I have to kind of alternate days when I'm reading regular books, comics, and then a book like that. That's right. Infinitum is actually right by my bedside. I've been reading a couple pages in there because here's the thing: it's a lot of pages, but it's not a lot of wording pages. It's mostly art.
Mostly art.
Otis talking about, tell him, Paul. Listen. I mean, I like Black Panther, but I mean, let me ask you this: could you be a black collector without collecting any Black Panther?
No.
I don't think so.
Why you say that,
because
Paul?
Black Panther is the #1 superhero in the entire freaking world.
Well, wait a minute now. You go down that hill, that's fine. I feel you.
I'll go down the hill. I'll run down the hill. I'll drive down the hill. I'll fly down the hill. Where you want to go with it?
You want to down that hill? Okay. I'm just saying, listen, Black Panther is a very popular cartoons. A lot of Avenger books. We know that. He's in a lot of Marvel books. You know, but I mean, it's easy to collect him without trying to collect him. If that makes any sense. I bump into a comic. I go in the comic shop. I bump into Black Panther just because, he's in this book. He's mentioned in this book. He's got a couple of panels in this book. He's, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't necessarily have to go out of my way to find Black Panther.
But you would have to go out of your way to avoid him.
Yes. But for example, my guy, where is he? My guy here, Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning. You just can't easily find that book in a comic shop. Some places you can find it. It's one of the most affordable keys you can buy.
That is one of the most affordable keys you can get. I think I got mine for $40.
And here's the thing too. With him, you have to search out Black Lightning, even if to find them in certain books. He's got 3 volumes, and he's got a year 1 story. He's been in a lot of Batman and the Outsiders books, but outside of that, he doesn't really have a whole lot of appearances in different books.
He's a very collectible character. He's one that you can literally own all the runs on. I think I own, the only thing I'm missing on him is 2 of the Outsider volumes and volume 1 of his book. I have the first issue of the volume 1 because it's his first appearance, but I need volume 1 and I need the first 2 Outsider. I have just a couple spattering issues here and there of the first 2 Outsiders runs. But all of his other Black Lightning self-titled runs, volume 2, 3, and 4, whatever it is, I have those. Those are easy to pick up.
I mean,
For such
and
a
again,
powerful character, it's ridiculous.
yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that because I might be triggered. Either way. Uh,
I wouldn't blame you for
now
being
let's
triggered
talk.
on Black Lightning.
Let's talk. Now we talked a little bit about Storm. Okay. Misty Knight. We mentioned Misty Knight a little bit. Monica Rambeau has a few books. She's been in a few books.
What about this book?
What about that book? Golden Legacy. Which one is that?
This is number 15, Ancient African Kingdoms.
Okay. I don't have that one.
I'm
but
mad at people in BCL for not putting me on to this series.
Why?
Because it's a dope series. Illustrated Black history.
Be right back. I'll show you something.
Oh, here we go. About to get that Richard flex.
You done started the flex.
You're about to have a Derek moment.
Hey.
Not really, guys. I don't think. Hold on.
If it was a Derek moment, he'd be coming out with 9.9 and 10.0 slabs. I just picked this up, but I tripped.
I've given this book away. I've had AOKs that I've given people. When I did my birthday stuff, I gave a few of these away. But here are the original Golden Legacy books.
See, there you go. Oh,
I told you it was gonna flex, right?
We got all of them.
These all.
I told you it was gonna flex,
Hold
right?
up. No. This is only. I have a few in another boxes, in a few boxes, but these are all Harriet Tubmans. This is the Queen, Harriet Tubman.
Okay.
Fitzgerald Publishing, coming 1967. Original books, and I got them sitting in a box in my closet.
Gordon's giving you props. He said, "Nice, Rich." Hey, listen, everyone who's watching right now, I need y'all to hit the like button right there, if you would. Just hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed to our Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, obviously, Twitter. Subscribe to all that, because that's what allows us to keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, give us a like.
I see you there. As you're bagging and boarding, take a second, step over to your phone, or your tablet, or your laptop, hit the like button. No one's done it yet. No one's paying attention to me. This is absurd.
Don't worry about it, man.
You're hurting my feelings right now, fam.
Now, you got to say like a comic book like this by Roosevelt Pitts, Purge.
Thank you, Gordon.
Okay. Purge, I think Roosevelt Gordon he just released issue 2. Because
I need to get that. I don't have that.
Reinterpretation of Purge. This is Purge number 0.
Yeah.
But I got several copies of that. And then of course there's books like Son of Heru. This is another book. By
I know I used to have that. I cannot find that.
Yep. Mr. Willie, I had a forest book, I want to say, that I gave Willie that he had been hunting for. I was the only, and I sent it to him, and he was like, "Man, I so appreciate it," because he really wanted it. He needed to complete his collection. And I done froze up. Tragic.
Yeah, Rich, you really need to up your internet. Talk to your provider.
I know, man. It's kind of terrible. I'm hacking in on the neighbor stuff. he might be knocking on the door and say, "Stop stealing my internet." Yeah, we have issues, technical difficulties. That'll happen, So I still think it's the Illuminati. Think the child is, he like what I had to say about it. You know what I'm saying? You snitch,
I
Paul.
have
You
no
snitched
comment on
on
that from the cult of Bast.
me. You snitched on me, bro. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. But going back to our topic though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now let me ask you, Tameko,
Hmm.
in your opinion, what should a comic book collector have? If you could just like name a book or a title that you think, you know what, you need this in your collection. Not what you got necessarily in your collection, but what book that you think that, hey, this book here says a lot or means a lot, or this character says a lot, means a lot. You should have this in your collection. Who would that be, or what book would that be?
That's hard to say because everyone collects different things. I can't tell you that you should have this book in your
Okay,
collection
somebody's
if you may
muted.
not collect that character. I can only tell you books I have. But the question I had wanted to pose a little bit earlier was, should there be a marker for being a black comic collector?
Yes,
Should just
milestone original run. You got to have some of the books
for
from that.
being a black comic collector? Oh,
Yes, milestone original run. You got to have some of the books from that.
a black
Rich
comic
is
collector.
good.
Get out of there, Rich.
Yes, milestone original run. You got to have some. Ah, Rich.
You made a mistake like I did. You hit the button
That's
on the
not
phone.
Now, to your credit, Rich, your internet
Hit
seems
the
to have
button on
gotten
the
a little
phone. What happened?
better. You started playing
You hit the live.
the stream on another source,
Mm-hmm.
but your internet seems
I don't hear
better.
nothing.
Ooh. Well, we can hear
Oh
you.
man.
We hear you fine.
I'm going to pull out and come back in because I can't hear nothing.
Oh,
I don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. I'll be back. That's my.
So what does this mean? What is the lesson that we have learned here, Tameko? The lesson that we have learned is in the 21st century, particularly during the pandemic, you got to invest in a good internet service provider. Don't scrump on your internet. Everything runs on your internet. I know my household, everything's on the internet. So we spend a crap load of money on a good internet service. So what are some books? What are some books that you can think of that you kind of have to have as a black collector?
Well, I will still stand by my previous answer of the milestones because that's that was pretty much the premier black comic.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a statement, right? Because it's not just about having the keys. Like I can understand if you're on a budget, having the first issues of some of those books, particularly Static One, can be a little pricey. But you got to have some because you can still to this day go into dollar bins and find some milestone, definitely back issues, and find some issues that are reasonably affordable. But it's a statement to own a milestone book because that's saying, you know what, I'm investing in my opinion, the premier black comics of all time. That's my opinion. I mean,
black comics made by black creators,
right? So. For a black company. I mean, that's a statement in and of itself. That's just why Milestone's so personally important to me because that's what kind of really sort of kick-started my collecting of black comics back in the 90s was Milestone. So you don't own any Milestone books, I really can't see how you're seriously considered a black collector.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mike Carson says Black Lightning, Static, Fantastic Four, 52, Spawn, and Cyborg. But what if you're not like either a DC or a Marvel person? Like most people are one or the other. You know, I didn't own a first appearance of Cyborg until recently. And Black Lightning, I just got my first appearance of him a few years ago. And Rich is back.
Yo.
All right.
Did you pay your internet bill?
No. I just closed out
Derek
a lot
says he has. Look, this is the ultimate flex. This is why I don't like Derek, man. I like Derek, but I can't stand the dude.
No, he said.
Look
what he said. All
this is dude about. I have several copies of Giant Size X-Men #1, all digital.
Digital does not count, sir. No. You got to be able to hold the comic in your hand.
I mean, Derek stay flexing even when he has nothing to flex. Talking about digital.
I mean, I'm analog. I prefer to have the books in my hands that I can open and read and touch.
He just going out of his way to irritate.
I'm not with the digital stuff. I know we're headed towards there, but I'm an old head. I'm not with it.
Yeah, kind of like Erykah Badu say, I'm an analog girl in a digital world. I get that. Mike brought up Spawn, and of course, you know, we go back and forth. Shout out to Armani. You know, this thing about Spawn being a black character and whatnot, and you know, he is one of the few characters that quote unquote black characters that I would say, if a cat doesn't want to collect Spawn, I don't think something's wrong with him. I understand the sentiment. Why they don't consider him to be black. But, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think that, you know, Spawn is one of those characters that kind of transcends the whole idea of him being a race.
Are you quoting Todd McFarlane?
No. I just think that's I have a lot, but I don't look at Spawn, and when I read it, I don't be like, right on, Spawn. I just kind of take the story for what it is. He is a man, so his wife, his best friend. Yeah. Boy, it sounds like an entanglement.
Let me ask you a question, because you're a long-time Spawn reader. Does Spawn kill, or is he like Batman with a non-kill rule?
Does he kill?
Yes.
What? Spawn murders. He mutilates. Yeah. That's,
have you ever seen Spawn kill any black people in his comic?
No.
So you have the longest running black superhero who focuses a lot of his emotional attention on his black wife and a black baby and kills numerous amounts of white people. And yet you don't consider Spawn a hardcore black character. Okay.
I don't consider him a hardcore black character from the standpoint that when I read Spawn could be black, he could be white, he could be Mexican. In fact, Gunslinger Spawn is Latino. You know, but it's not central to the character. Now, the only reason why I know that he's Latino, talking about Gunslinger Spawn, is because his origin comes up, and that's what comes out of that. But there's nothing about the character that says, you know what, you know, this is guys for the La Raza. No. I mean, you know what I'm saying? As with Spawn, it's a story. He happened to tell a story about a black man who was an operative of, you know, whether you want to call him a killing
Black
machine
Ops
or
are
whatever.
rough.
But he he dies. He goes to hell, makes a deal with the devil to see his wife. But the devil keeps him in hell for 5 years. He doesn't know. He comes back, and his best friend is married to his wife, and they have a child, Cyan, who you talked about earlier. And you know, yeah. So, bro, man got issues. I can see that, but
Mike
is
Carson says he might be the strongest black hero.
Possibly. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He if you're reading Spawn now, you gotta love it because it's a pretty dope story. But again, it's one of those stories where I think people's personal preference. I know Imani, for example, talks about how they burnt all of his skin off. And that's like, do you want to do that with a black character? Or with, how does that kind of factor in? And it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? But it's one of those things, because I think that Black Death triggers all of us, because we've seen so much of it. So even to see it in the comic book, we want to distance ourselves from it. You know what I'm saying? Because name a character outside of Spawn that creates the mayhem like that. Because there isn't one. You know what I mean? He is kind of like a Punisher type, where, it don't matter who you are, it don't matter where what's going on, I'm going to kill you. And it's going to. He's not Batman, not at all. So
he's more like Deadpool.
Yeah, without the humor.
Without the humor, yes.
It's a horror comic. I mean, I'm saying, and I do maintain this, that it's actually a love story. You know what I'm saying? Because you think about a man dies and he goes to hell, and the one thing is his wife. He doesn't want to get out of hell. He doesn't want to drink fruity drink or whatever. He doesn't want any of that. I just want to see my wife. And of course, the devil being the devil, I'll let you see your wife, after 5 years. And when you see your wife, you might not like what you see. And he did, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, I identify with Spawn only in the sense that, this is a character that is being tormented by his decisions. And he's trying to hold on to the last grasp of humanity that he has. That is Spawn in a nutshell. And so, yeah. But so no, he doesn't rank high as far as, I mean, I collect him, but I don't collect him in like, this is, he's not in the black section. He's in the Spawn section.
Yeah, I used to collect Spawn up until they had that issue where he was like,
Yeah, he got a little sacrilegious. He got
sacrilegious. You know what issue I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I left Spawn alone for a while. In fact, all those issues, like after 150 to like 280, not 280, like 250, like 150 to 250. Those books are like $40 or $50. They're super rare, low print. Yeah, and they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah. But my Sunday school upbringing would not allow me to continue to collect Spawn after that.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, I think I read that issue you talking about, and I was like, I think we're done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I literally immediately canceled my subscription.
That'll happen sometimes. So look, guys, we are an hour and 40 minutes in. And, I think we're going to go ahead and get ready to shut this down.
Derek asked, is it too judgy to expect a millennial reader to own Original Milestone? No, because you can find Original Milestone in back issue bins and even dollar bins to this day.
But to his point, hold on. To his point, it might feel dated.
Yeah.
So, it's like, okay, if I collect this, am I going to really enjoy it? And the chances are you may not, because it's dated. Like Static, for example. Static, particularly because he uses a lot of pop culture references in his humor and things of that nature, that might be not the jam. But a book like Icon or Hardware, where the story is kind of straightforward, probably will enjoy that. But definitely, Static will definitely feel dated.
Well, in that case, for all the younger viewers, younger readers, you go with the season 1 and season 2s that DC's putting out now, because they are an excellent jumping point into the milestone universe.
Derek says, yes, my point was about being relevant to them, not about accessibility. So that goes to Tameko's point that and this is where the reboot of the milestone universe in the way that they're doing, in the end, they may be proven right in terms of re-envisioning these characters and these stories for this new generation. Because if we're not appealing to the new generation, they're not going to be successful. So it's a balancing act between pleasing the old heads like myself and also making it relevant to the new generation of kids that are out there.
I don't know what, I'll be honest, I don't know what's going on with the old heads, because the book that they gave the old heads has become basically a non-factor. Sorry, DC. Sorry, Milestone. I'm not gonna let y'all off the hook. I like you. You invited us to a nice, press junket. You know what I'm saying? We had a slice of potato salad, and you kicked us out.
No, don't do that.
Come on now. Let's not go there. Back up. Let's come on out the hole.
Richard's opinions are not reflective of the Black Comic Lords. Look,
Richard. Richard. I told you it was time to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
For old heads like Richard, who the stay off my lawn with the comics, they have their old books. They just reread those.
No, I'm just saying. I'm gonna put. You know what?
Yeah, fortunately, DC has control over Richard's internet and have blocked him out right now.
You know what? I mean, yeah, I got y'all all on the wall. This is the whole DC wall. I'm Team DC, but you're making it hard for a player. I'm just saying. I'm gonna get.
And with that, thank you all for your time.
No, I'm gonna get this out before we leave. I'm gonna put the Static Hardware #5 on a milk cart, and I'm gonna ask a simple question: have you seen me? Mr. Brandon Thomas, have you? Where's my issue 5? I just want to know where it is. That's all. Am I being unrealistic?
Yes.
Am I really I'm being unreasonable? Because I just look. Comic book time. Woo! I guess it is time to.
Thank you for joining the
segment where we're like, is Richard on something or is he on to something?
Listen, I'm just
definitely on something.
I'm just saying.
We'll let Richard get back to whatever he's on.
No. You know what? We're not doing this no more. Listen, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I want to thank everybody that came and hung out with us. And yes, to the good people at Milestone Media and DC, I love y'all.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna put a fight to it. I love y'all. Shout out to y'all.
Read the comics. Buy the comics.
Yeah.
Comic Lords.
Shout out to the Black Comic Lords, Black Superheroes Forever. We are in the building. We are about to get out of here. From the Queen Tameko to the Don Dada. Look, is on something. I want to know what my hardwood comic is. Damn it! I should have said that, but I will say it anyway. I love y'all. And love y'all.
Peace, everybody.